All right, so Rebel Wilson goes public with girlfriend. A journalist says their publication was going to out the star. So basically what happened was she got interviewed for the, what was it called? The
Sydney Morning Herald.
The Sydney Morning Herald. And the idea here is that they gave her like an ultimatum, basically, which scummy.
Doesn't make sense because if she doesn't out herself, then you get the story. But if she outs herself, you don't have your exclusive story anymore. So what was the point of that?
Would the goal be that they're like, we just, not only do we want to break it, we want you to be okay with us breaking it.
Also, it wasn't even like, I feel like the age of like coming out does not exist anymore just because it's so normal that it's not even like, this is just so blown out of proportion.
And like I said, I have like dual minds about most of this. On one hand, I do think I was immediately suspicious because it was Pride Month and it felt with a new movie coming out, so I was automatically suspicious. But at the same time, if I'm to take everything that's said here as gospel, it's not the newspaper's job to blackmail her and make public what is essentially her right and her business to keep to herself. So, in either way, I'm more likely to hate the newspaper for being scummy than I am to hate like her for not wanting her private business made public. Does it annoy me when they use it for personal gain and advertising? Yes.
Do you
absolutely.
think she's doing that and that maybe this was all planned?
That's why, like, without knowing the answer, I have a hard time leaving it as like, if it is, that is a scummy thing to do.
I thought I was cynical. Come on.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't we cover something that was similar to this before? I might be going crazy. But I feel like I remember.
In what way? Like it was somebody like
some kind of like a publication that was blackmailing somebody for to like break their story.
As much as I rag on celebrities, I hate shitty journalists even more.
I just hate this paparazzi culture, the celebrity worship. Like I've never understood it. I've never been interested in it.
Yep.
Why do they have to go in and just get in the business of people that's very personal stuff that it's like why are we doing this?
I'm reading too much into it, but like because celebrities are deified, you have to like vilify whatever you deify if what you deified is
Breaks
not
from
worthy of it.
Yeah.
And if a celebrity is being worshipped and they're not worthy of that type of attention,
which none of them are,
because they're
just normal people,
you end up hating them.
Yep.
It makes sense because they didn't live up to the expectation that you had of them. Maybe I'm just reading too much into that, but that's how I feel about it.
I found that maybe the thing I find most draining is the people who just love I find it weird when like when normal people like ship other celebrities together. Like, oh my God, this couple is everything. I'm like, dude, go outside.
Women used to be able to matchmake in their secluded communities, so now they have to do this with celebrities. It makes sense.
Shipping ruined the world. It really did. The Sydney Morning Herald's Andrew Hornery, that name, in a column written this weekend, revealed that in an abundance of caution, the newspaper emailed Rebel Wilson's representatives on Thursday morning, and later that same day, the actress reportedly decided to go public on Instagram. In the opinion piece, Hornery called the move from Wilson, quote, a big mistake, and claimed threatening to out her was a non-issue because sexual orientation is no longer something to be hidden. I agree with him. It doesn't give him a right to just make her business public.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if it says she likes Fruit Loops in the morning. Like, why do you get to say that? Why do you get to report on that?
It's weird. In the reporter's piece with his outlet, he also claimed that when the actress, now in her 40s, was previously in a relationship with businessman Jacob Bush, she happily fed such prurient interest by entertaining press about pairing. Thank you. By entertaining press about the pairing. Following the Herald's publishing of the column, backlash has surfaced across the web, with people rushing to the side of Wilson for apparently being pressured to discuss a private matter publicly. That is as far as I will go to defend her. Otherwise, these people live by the sword and they die by the sword, meaning that they do not exist without the press. The press does not, depending on your area of expertise, an entertainment journalist does not exist without them. We fall into that category in a lot of ways, but we're not asking for exclusives from these people. We're just analyzing what's going on as they relate to the media.
I mean, it's fine to inquire for a story, but if you're trying to blackmail someone, is that not illegal?
It should be.
Isn't that illegal? Am I
well,
crazy? I'm not the legal expert here, but
we would need to like have somebody talk about like a legal expert come on here and tell us like First Amendment protections are very vast and wide, like, and I think that's why the so many journalists get away with so much in this country.
Yeah,
but I would also rather have that than a censored press, so I'm very worried about.
I see the main threat to freedom of speech right now is more compelled speech than censorship. I mean, they're both really bad right now, but the compelled speech thing is becoming more and more common.
It's one thing for your post to be deleted by Facebook or some amorphous social media company. It's another thing where society as a whole pressures
where
you.
Real people are personally threatening you to say something.
It's easy to be angry, and it makes sense to be angry at the industry, at entertainment reporters, at a newspaper, at a company. It's a lot more to me heartbreaking that you have to be angry at individual people that are compelling you to say something. Mm-hmm. So it says the Australian performer has also shared that she feels she is an equal partnership in a healthy relationship now. This is purportedly different from what she experienced in the past when she was putting up with things she shouldn't have. The Pitch Perfect alum still showed love for her exes, saying they're great, but her new partner, it seems like a balance to the partnership that's really clicking for her. That's fine and good. I wonder if, like, to me, this is one of those things where, like I said, I think that she has used these rumors in the past to fuel, whether it's to increase your public profile and make you more attractive to people looking to give you roles. She's already spoken out about how losing weight affected her ability to get roles in movies because she was typecast as like the overweight girl.
Yeah, I was less sympathetic to that because if you rise to fame looking one way, that's how people are always going to perceive you, the way that they first saw you.
But what's interesting about that is, like, it used to be something to praise when somebody lost a bunch of weight and changed their life. And now, between the people who tell her that she's bad because she's no longer a role model, I feel like I have at least the slightest bit of sympathy.
That's the thing. Like, who was calling Rebel Wilson a role model, or Adele, or any of these people?
Yeah. So it says that I just want to go on about. So basically, they this guy, what was his name again? It was Andrew Hornery. They suspended this guy for his article, for the emails. So it says, we'll go down here. In response to the subsequent, Hornery went on to criticize Wilson, saying that instead, we'll read this from the top. Okay, so the social media post was met with an outpouring of well wishes. They're talking about her coming out. But it was later revealed by the Sydney Morning Herald that the paper knew about the relationship before Wilson went public. In a private Sydney column posted on Saturday and since removed, the SMH's Andrew Hornery wrote, "It was with an abundance of caution and respect that this media outlet emailed Rebel Wilson's representatives on Thursday morning, giving her 2 days to comment on her new relationship with LA leisure wear designer Ramona Arguma before publishing a single word." So if you're looking at it from their perspective, they're like, look, we have this information. Would you like to leave a comment? That sounds fairly benign. But then when you look at it from her perspective, it's, we have this information. Leave a comment or else.
Well, but it's not, leave a comment, and if you don't, then we won't publish it. We're going to publish it regardless.
So the question is, does she have if she did not volunteer this information to them, do they owe her pulling the story at all?
Morally,
well, where did they get the information in the first place?
I do not know.
Because if she was just in public spaces with this person, and paparazzi happened to see that, that's still publicly available
information.
Like,
so do they owe her? Like, do you believe that they owe her to pull the story if she requests it because it's private information?
I don't. If they found it out in a public way, then it's not private.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they shouldn't have published it.
But on a moral level, you believe
ethically, I think, yeah,
that if she requested, look, please don't run this story.
Absolutely.
It would, yeah. I tend to fall closer on that side, that like if she asked respectfully to do so, then to do so. Also, you have to put into like, is this really the biggest story in the world? Like, it's not like they're breaking some big scandal. She's saying like, look, this is my private life. This isn't something that I did to someone else. This isn't some crazy story about something that happened. It's just something about me. I think that they owed it to her.
Sure. I mean, to us, it's not a huge story, but to her, it might be.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I also still have questions. Like, look, it happened during Pride Month, which is like a very opportune time. And it happened around the time that a new movie is coming out. So I do wonder, knowing that these people use media the way they do as a means of promoting themselves, if it's not all a huge kerfuffle that's meant to bring up us talking, that's literally designed to get us to do exactly what we're doing, which is talk about it right now, right?
Yeah, well, which does reek of like some kind of PR stunt.
Exactly.
I'm not really sure. Also, I just pulled up Andrew Hornery's Twitter, and it says that his account is restricted.
I'm sure he's getting hate mail from people.
Canceled.
Maybe he's being like mass reported or something.
Probably.
But he got ratioed really bad because he posted his article that he ended up like publishing, and he's getting destroyed in the quote tweets right now.
So it says, in a subsequent Twitter post by 10 News journalist Katie Doak, I wonder if she's related to Dr. Doak from the GoldenEye video game. No? Nobody?
Nobody.
Said it wasn't Wilson's choice to come out and that the actress wrote it was a very hard situation, but trying to handle it with grace. Sydney Morning Herald editor Bevan Shields defended the paper's actions, writing on Sunday, like other mastheads do every day, we simply ask questions and as a standard practice include a deadline for response. I have made no decision about whether or what to publish, and the Herald's decision about what to do would have been informed by any response, Wilson supplied. Hornery, in a piece published Monday afternoon local time entitled I Made Mistakes Over Rebel Wilson and Will Learn from Them, he is getting ready to bow down to the altar of angry internet culture. We mishandled steps in our approach. He continued, it is not the Herald's business to out people, and that is not what we set out to do. But I understand why my email has been seen as a threat. The framing of it was a mistake. This goes back to, I don't know if this was you that I was talking to yesterday about just how insufficient and inadequate the ability to communicate online actually is, meaning that the inability to understand tonal context and what you mean by saying something just with the lack of eye contact, facial expressions, and tone of your voice makes any type of communication liable to be something that's deconstructed by whoever's reading it. So
not
she
only
took
that,
it the way
it
that
also
she
is like changing how we do face-to-face interaction.
Yes.
We like speak in a text way.
Yep. Oh, my biggest complaint is people who talk like they're on Twitter in real life. I'm like, dude, that's not how actual human beings talk in the real world. Sorry.
I mean, I think this reaction might have been a little over dramatic from like the replies I'm looking at right now. Someone said, maybe you should have sent the note using letters cut from magazines or included a relative's severed finger.
Oh my
God.
God.
It's really not that serious. No. It was never that serious.
15
the guy just
years,
doesn't know how to write an email in the correct way.
15 years ago, this would have been a lot bigger deal. Now
yeah, no
like,
one even comes out anymore. Like, what does that even mean?
Like
that was a thing for maybe like 10 years or something.
Earlier, somebody posted like a picture from like one of the Pride events, and it was like Christina Aguilera performing. Remember? And I was like, I didn't even know.
I remember.
Yeah, not going to forget that one.
Not going to forget that picture. Don't go look it up. But I was like, I didn't even know she was LGBTQIA, and you're like, I don't think she is. And like, oh. Okay.
And then at that point, it's just like, well, who even cared or asked?
Yeah, nobody cares. It's like normal people are too if normal people are too busy to go watch movies with heavy messaging, they certainly don't give a crap who you sleep with. They just
Someone
don't.
Else said, "Hey, journalists, learn to code." How do you feel about former journalists invading the coding world?
As long as they learn properly and can do the job, that's
I don't
great.
think they can.
Well, probably not, but you got to give them a shot.
They'll write hit pieces on the code.
I'm not going to go easy on them.
They're going to write hit pieces on you when you.
It's time for coding boot camp.
Yeah. They're going to have to get their own Substacks, and then once they get a Substack, they'll write hit pieces on coders.
Now, some of these replies, they're just making me like completely for the Sydney Morning Herald. Like, they're just being so
what are they saying?
Over dramatic. Someone said, threatening to out a person is an act of emotional violence. Like, emotional violence is...
I love it. I love it.
That doesn't make any sense.
There was this is a slightly off topic. There was like an article I found today where it asked if Clint Barton in the Marvel movies was emotionally cheating on his wife by having like a close relationship with Natasha because they're like really good friends in the movies, and then like she sacrifices herself. It's like these people who have never actually struggled or faced any adversity in their life.
This is like when you have a dream about a different girl and your girlfriend is like, you did what now?
You did what? You're mind cheating.
Right.
Mind cheating. Yes, that's exactly
Emotional violence is just, those words don't go together. And then someone replied to that, it's violent, period. Actual violence.
Yep, that's the world we live in now. Where
it compromises their safety.
Burn down.
Like, I don't think that Rebel Wilson in Australia was in any danger because people found out that she had a girlfriend.
My favorite thing in the world now is the hyperbolic nature of threatening your safety when they say something, and I'm like, from who? Like, they say that about everything. They're like, it causes like when Dave Chappelle insults a bunch of people, they're like he risked their safety. I'm like, how? In what way? Nobody can ever give you a straight answer. There's like, he just
at this point, silence is violence. Words are violence. Pretty much anything but actual violence is violence.
And violence is only violence.
And violence, yeah.
And real violence is justified.
Violence is only violence if power plus privilege is involved in the violence. Yep. So.
My favorite was the. Did you guys ever see the thing about the when in Minneapolis when the riots were going on and it says mostly peaceful protests and it's the reporter like this and there's literally a building burning down behind him.
Oh, we're getting spicy.
Yes, we're getting spicy. All right, back to it. There were some super chats in there.
Let me look.
Oh, F off
said Mary thinks too deep on simple subjects. Movies are a hobby you go because people want to do something fun that will distract them. The same endorphins are released doing other activities.
I think there's something to be said about the concept that...
off. I think that you are simplifying deep subjects. Maybe.
Fight. Okay, no. I think that the general idea here is that like the film nerd who goes to a movie will look for something different than the mom bringing two kids who's just going there to distract the kids and do something on a Saturday afternoon.
Is it possible that different humans have different experiences
when
they view the same movie? Is that possible?
Yes.
I'm just throwing this idea out here.
It absolutely. If there's people that like The Last Jedi, then yes.
Exactly.
I knew you'd appreciate that one. That wouldn't have been my go-to example, but I knew you'd appreciate that one.
All I'm saying is that movies and entertainment and all hobbies are supposed to edify you. Not just distract you. That's just a fact.
Debatable.
Do you think Star Wars edifies you?
I think there was some deeper meaning, but I mean, any good fantasy still is meant to leave you with some kind of moral or message or something.
Absolutely.
Like
That's
that.
why I'm saying it's an edifying activity to watch this movie or read this book.
Do you think that's the main purpose, though?
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't know if I believe that it's the main purpose. I would believe that it would be a hopeful byproduct, not necessarily the main purpose for most people.
I mean, when people hear the word edify, they just think harangued, and that's not what things
You're using
used to
a lot
be
of
like.
words I don't even know. So
I know,
let me rephrase.
Like
I
beaten with messaging. That's what I mean. Like that is where people, their minds start to go, but that's not how it used to be.
Let me rephrase that. I think that the filmmaker wants that. I think that the filmmaker hopes that a portion of the audience will care enough to look that deeply, but that the average audience isn't that group. It's like when we talk about artists who make art for artists as opposed to artists who make art for consumers. I think that the filmmaker deep down wants the audience to connect on a deeper level. I don't know if I believe that most people in the audience actually want that entirely.
I don't know.
So
this is making me think of like Charlie Chaplin and like silent movies. He was a comedian and he did like physical comedy and stuff like that, but he also made movies, like silent movies that without words actually had like really deep messages and morals involved. Like I watched The Kid and loved it, and that's just something that our culture like used to have, like stories like that had humor and meaningful messages.
Okay, here's an idea. It would be cool to go look through a list of like blockbuster movies from like the last 20 years, and we watch them and review them and look for deeper and see if we can pull out a deeper message. Well, see, well, yeah, like I can think of some off the top of my head that I could definitely do that with. But would you be interested, chat people, if for us to maybe look through and review some movies and see if we can find deeper meaning, and then figure out whether that is us reading too much into it, or if we actually think that that's what the filmmaker intended for us to find?
Yeah, and it's not always their intention, because people can't make something that doesn't mean something. I don't think it's possible to make something meaningless, even if the meaning is unintentionally there.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.